Hello lovelies, my name is Ashley. Some of you may know me as Ashley Marie on Wattpad. Some of you may also know me as half of #Tayley. Shout out to Tay if you're watching this, which you totally are because you're 100% the reason that I'm making this video today, because she won't stop hounding me. Today we're going to be talking about the first book published by Wattpad Books in 2020, and that is She's With Me by Jessica Cunsolo. Sorry if I butcher your name. So She's With Me follows the oh so familiar trope of new girl moves to town and falls in love with the high school bad boy. However, I do think that this take that Jessica has on it is more unique, and there's definitely more substance than some other YA books that I've read with similar theme. For those of you who don't know, She's With Me is about a girl named Amelia Collins who moves to yet another new town. When she moves there, she vows to fit in and finish her senior year of high school drama-free. Yeah, right. There can't be any mistakes. Staying under the radar is the only option Amelia has, in order to stay one step ahead of the man who wants to destroy her. But when a group of friends befriends Amelia and makes her feel safe and loved for the first time in a long time, she struggles to keep her distance from them, especially when faced with her feelings for the oh so beautiful bad boy, Aiden Parker, whose piercing gray eyes and strength absolutely weaken her resolve. And to make matters worse, when Aiden's ex-girlfriend threatens Amelia in ways that would make her so much easier to find, Amelia has to act quickly. Feeling crushed by her desire to have a normal life and not wanting to leave her friends behind, Amelia has an impossible choice to make between wanting to stay safe and wanting to feel real love for the first time. Just a heads up, there's going to be spoilers, so if you haven't read this book and you're planning on it but you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to come back later, but that decision's up to you. So the book opens at Amelia on her first day of school at King City High. Now, like many of us, Amelia is directionally challenged, which I can wholeheartedly sympathize with her for. She's wandering around trying to find her first class, and what does she see but the 4 walking skyscrapers in the middle of the hall? I think we all know these seniors, the ones who decide to walk in a horizontal line across the hallway so that nobody else can think about using it. So of course Amelia tries her best to stay out of their way, but we wouldn't have a novel if she didn't run head first smack into somebody. Enter Aiden Parker. Tall, gray eyes, absolutely beautiful to look at. And what does he do? He rips her a new one and doesn't even offer to pick up her things for her. Like, what is this? So we meet Aiden, and first off, we learn that he is a complete jerk. What else is new, right? Now, this is where we first learn one thing about Amelia. She will not take shit from anyone. So our girl decides to stand up for herself and names off a couple of insults that I think are beautiful, and I'm going to put them in here right now for you. So the first one that I find to be very tasteful is when our lovely, charming bad boy Aiden asks her if he can draw her a map so she can get the F out of his face. Now, instead of slapping him with her hand, Amelia decides to slap him with a nice comeback of, "No thank you, but I can draw you a map, so when I tell you to go to hell, you know exactly where to go." So that was in fact in the original Wattpad book that I read 2 years ago, and I am so happy to see that Jessica kept it. And the second eloquently worded comeback that Amelia comes up with is, and I quote, "No, you listen to me, asshole. First of all, get out of my face. Your breath stinks from all the crap that spews out of your mouth. Second, your dick belongs to your body, not in your personality." There have been multiple times in my high school life when I wish that I had only had the wit that Amelia Collins has. I'm not going to walk you step by step through this book because I think that really ruins things and takes away the whole fun of reading it. Hopefully, y'all have already read this. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the 3 most notable characters in this book, and those are Amelia, our sarcastic, witty, and strong female main character. 2, Aiden Parker, our male protagonist, who is tall, hot, broody, and drives a Challenger straight out of Fast and Furious. And 3rd, we have Noah, who, albeit is not a primary character, however, he's adorable. We all need a Noah in our life, and I think we can all personally relate to his monologue on page 190 in which he talks about leaving the house without a sweater, and not being willing to face the wrath of his mother. Can relate. Of course, we shouldn't forget about Charlotte and Annalisa, the two new friends that Amelia makes rather quickly on her first days of school, as well as the rest of the boys, Mason and Julian. Now, one question that a lot of people might have with this book is, why should I read it if I've already read the Wattpad version? Well, for one, this published version is a lot cleaner and more concise. Jessica is really taking care of her grammar, her punctuation, her tenses. I think it's way easier to read now. So I'd also just like to guarantee for any of those who haven't read this yet that, one, Amelia is still as sarcastic and witty as she was in the Wattpad version of this book. Two, the glitter bomb prevails. Insert my favorite quote here. If you know anything about glitter, it's that it's basically the herpes of the craft world. I also don't remember if this was in the Wattpad book because, like I said, it's been about 2 years, despite the fact that I've read it a few times on Wattpad. And I absolutely love the fact that there is a line in the book in which Aiden says the title, "She's With Me," in reference to Amelia. So another big theme that is covered in She's With Me that I would very much like to touch on is the female empowerment in this story. So for those of you that haven't read this, I'm about to give a big spoiler, so just get out. But for those of you who have read it already or know the story, you will be familiar with the fact that Amelia Collins is not Amelia's real name. Her real name is Thea Kennedy, and she is in witness protection. So after a drunk driving incident with Amelia's father, in which both of her father and a young girl were killed, Amelia becomes the target of that little girl's father, who believes that Amelia should not have survived the accident that took his daughter away from him so soon after he also lost his wife. Now, there's not a whole ton of detail, I believe it's covered in the later books, about the two lives that Amelia has lived between being Thea Kennedy and Amelia Collins. We know that her names have been, of course, her birth name Thea Kennedy, as well as Isabella Smith, Haley Johnson, before she became Amelia. Now, we're a little foggy on what happened as Isabella. However, we do know that as Haley Johnson, Thea was attacked at her part-time job and 3 people were killed. Now, one of the things that I love about Thea/Amelia is that she is a strong and independent girl. We see very early on that Amelia is 100% capable and confident enough to protect herself. She does not rely on others to keep her safe. Now, to get real serious here, it is 2020, and unfortunately I feel like it has never been harder to be a teenage girl in society. Many girls fall victim to abuse and assault at the hands of strangers and friends and family, and it is just heartbreaking. So to be able to see that Jessica has crafted this character who has not let the traumas and abuse of her past control her, per se, and that this girl is strong and confident and able to stand up for herself against people who are literally a foot taller than her and have 100 pounds on her. We see her defend herself against Dave, a would-be abuser, who had intentions of forcing himself on Amelia at a party. Yes, it is eventually broken up by Aiden and Noah and Mason and Julian. However, we do still get to see Amelia's self-defense come into play, and I think that was actually a really powerful moment. Now, we also later see Amelia fall prey to this Dave character again. She is, albeit unable to fend off her attackers by herself. However, you do still see that effort, and I think that in itself makes her character more real because, let's face it, she's this tiny slip of a thing who, yes, knows self-defense, but the reality is that you cannot always defend yourself physically. Which brings in another thing that I would just like to say. Girls, if you are in the middle of nowhere at night with a bunch of strangers, please bring a bathroom buddy. Overall, I think Thea, Isabella, Haley, Amelia, whatever name you want to call her, she was written as a strong and mostly fearless, witty character who is completely, I believe, role model material for young girls. And I think that is something that we need to strive for. In that, let's not aim to be pretty and have the most followers or anything. Let's aim to be able to protect ourselves and to feel confident walking around. And now I'm rambling. So overall, let's just say it. The Kennedy is a badass bitch. So on the topic that every YA novel has to include in some way, there is the romance. So yes, there is romance in She's With Me. But if you're expecting a quick burn, light a match kind of romance, you're out of luck. 19 chapters. 19 chapters before we finally get to applaud the first kiss. So overall, if I was asked to describe She's With Me in 3 words, there's no reason that I'm saying 3 so many times, but I digress. In 3 words, I would describe it as empowering, hilarious, and witty. So overall, I was very impressed with this novel. I did give it a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. However, I would kind of give it a 4.5 if I'm being honest. Not for any fault of Jessica's. She did an amazing job rewriting this novel and turning it into a finished masterpiece. It is fun and cute and witty, and there's so many times that I just laughed. I teared up a couple of times. Overall, I was very impressed with it. So while She's With Me does leave us in a massive cliffhanger, which, not gonna lie, some of us know how it turns out already, but thankfully we've also been gifted the first 2 chapters of Stay With Me, the next book in the With Me series, set to be published in September of 2020 from Wattpad Books. So this has been my half-assed attempt at discussing She's With Me by Jessica Cunsolo. Shout out to a fellow Canadian author. Oh Canada, Beaver Tails, poutine. So until next time, leave a comment down below if you'd like, telling me if you have read this book and what you thought of it, be it Wattpad format or as a published novel. Also, you can like this video if by some miracle you actually did like it, and feel free to hit the subscribe button. I know this is a lot different than what I've been posting on this channel so far, namely my face is in it and I'm talking to you. It's not some kind of trailer, which I still love doing, by the way. So once again, a little shout out to Taylor Marley, my best friend and the author of The QB Bad Boy and Me. Without her, I honestly wouldn't have gotten up the courage to sit in front of this camera by myself and, I don't know, discuss a novel. So until next time, wait, I'm saying that in real life now? Until next time, I would like to thank anyone who did click on this video and give it a chance. Not a pro at this. This is my first time trying, but I mean, you can't learn if you don't do it right. But enjoy whatever book you're reading. Lots of love.